I'm using a 0.8mm copper wire, and I've measured off about 10 centimeters. I'm using a round nose pliers and bending it to make a loop to make the shape of a hairpin bend. So that the wires are lying flat next to each other. I'm using a pen to shape my wire to house my bead. I've left the wires attached to the main roll so that I don't run out of wire when I'm making the last part of it. I'm using a toothpick to thread my bead on so that I can put it into my little housing, so I can measure where to wrap the wire around. Taking the wire that is loose, just wrapping it around the toothpick, and I'm taking my round nose pliers and turning it at a 90-degree angle down. I'm just taking the small wire and making a small loop at the bottom of it. So I've got something to attach the long wire to. And now we're just going to wrap the wire all around that loop to make the base of the globe. Trim this wire down. So I've just pushed my pliers through it to make that little raised section there so that we can balance it when we put it down. Take another piece of wire and hold your pliers as close to the end as possible without having anything sticking at the top, and then just bend it round. When you can't go any further, rotate your pliers and bend again so you can get a tiny little circle like that. So that's what we're going to be threading onto the bead to hold it on top of our little globe. Just cutting a small section off, and then we can thread the bead on. Where we made this small little loop over here, we're going to thread our little wire through there. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and make another small little loop there. So you're going to have to trim this wire down. So once again, just taking your wire, you're going to just doing a little tiny one like that, which we're going to go around. So I'm going to just trim my wire off there. And then just rotate, nothing at the top, and just rotate. When you can't go any further, move the pliers and then rotate again. So you get a really nice tight little loop like that. So our little bead can still rotate on its little axis. One tiny little globe for my little house. Thank you so much for watching.